What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Wired to Be Rich. To my returning listeners, I'm so glad you're here with me again. And to those of you tuning in for the first time, I'm going to send a warm welcome. We've officially stepped into Q4, just about. We have one more day to go. But honestly, where did the year go, y'all? 2025 has flown by, and we say this every single year, but it just shows you just how fast time really does fly. It's always that time when I stop and think about everything I've done around this time of the year, everything I still want to do and how I want to finish strong before the year closes out. It's a lot that I have going on. I'm moving in just a couple months, and whether it be to a different state or whether it just be to a new apartment. You'll have to stay tuned and see, y'all. But with that reflection, I'm also expanding the show. Yes, I am expanding Wired to Be Rich. We're going to rebrand the name, and this podcast started with the focus on wealth building, but being wired to be rich is about the whole picture, y'all. It's not just money, it's mindset, culture, awareness, and the way we balance chasing goals with actually living. So going forward, I want y'all to expect more variety. We're going to be talking about celebrity agendas and how they shape the spotlight, the market shifts happening right now under our nose, especially with the laws that just passed and updates as of October 1st, all the changes, like the governmental changes going on right now, and the cultural trends that reflect the times that we're in, and the real perspective of being a 30-something who's still hustling but also making space to enjoy life, because true wealth, like I always say, the way that I see it, is about moving confidently in every single lane. So let's get into today's episode.
She's not just a podcast host. She's a movement.
Manda Lea is teaching people how to break cycles and build real wealth, mentally, financially, and spiritually.
People all over the world are waking up to her message.
Wired to Be Rich isn't just a podcast, it's a mindset shift.
She makes you believe again in yourself, in your power, and your ability to actually have the life you always known was meant for you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Manda Lea, entrepreneur, speaker, and founder of Balance and Destiny, and this is Wired to Be Rich.
I want to start today's episode by being really honest about why I'm pivoting the show and expanding what we cover. Y'all know a lot that I talk about are like real life events and real things that happened to me. And recently, I reconnected with an old classmate who goes by the stage name Wavy Jones. And for those of you who don't know him, he has made a name for himself in TV and film, y'all. He's been in The Good Doctor, Unsolved, The Murder of Tupac, Reprisal, See You Yesterday, Wu-Tang, and Dickinson, and more. And beyond his acting, he's also an entrepreneur. He runs a merch line called Food for Billionaires, custom-made t-shirts, sweatshirts, all available on Etsy. And I will definitely link it in the show notes because it's worth checking out, y'all. The material on these items of clothing are A1. And if you're anything like me, we don't buy cheap stuff, right? We want good quality material. And when I reconnected with him, he gave me feedback that really made me pause and think. He told me that what I have is good, but if I want to reach more people and work with bigger brands and grow my influence, I really need to open up. I need to show not just what I do, but who I am and what I'm actually good at. He didn't just give me general advice. He literally looked at my social and gave me a detailed breakdown of what is working, what's confusing, and where I could sharpen the message. And here's the thing. That same week, this was last week, okay? So this is all very new. So we're doing this leap together, okay? Just last week, that same week, Facebook sent me a notification saying that they're increasing my pay for content. And I was invited to TikTok Shop and the Creator affiliate program. It felt like the universe was literally confirming what my friend told me and what I already started thinking for myself. If I open up and show the full picture of what I'm capable of, doors are going to fly open for me. And that's why you're seeing a shift in the show. We're still keeping what worked before, but now we're going to be exploring more. That means talking about celebrity culture, current trends, markets, because you know I still love those. We would never stop doing that. And the day-to-day life of someone who's building and still living. Right? Just now entering the decade of 30 and figuring it out along the way while we have fun. And these are the things that I talk to my friends about for hours. So I want to include y'all a little bit more deeper into who I am, who's Manda Lea, and what is Wired to be Rich. And on top of that, I've been thinking a lot about creating more content too, especially video content. Spending time in the studio to really put this beautiful face, and I mean beautiful, to the brand. It's about showing more of myself, being present, and making sure people can connect with not just the ideas, but the person behind them. The lesson here is simple, but it's important. Sometimes it takes someone else seeing your work clearly to remind you of your potential, and sometimes the opportunity follow right after you're willing to show who you are. That's why I will always, always, always recommend networking and pouring into your village, your community, and your circle. Each one teach one, right? And speaking of showing up in this world, let's dive into a recent example of personal life colliding with brand. I want to talk about Cardi B announcing her pregnancy. Okay, now stay with me because it's really relative to my own life. Now, a baby is beautiful and it's a very personal moment. Anyone celebrating that should absolutely be celebrated. But this one landed while her man, Stefon had a storm, and still does, of accusations and legal drama swirling around him, y'all. The entertainment manager, Chris Blake Griffith, publicly accused Stefon of drugging him, assaulting him, and threatening him, y'all. Then JT from City Girls reposted that interview, giving it even more visibility, sticking up for the guy like, hey, this is not okay. So now you got the pregnancy, you've got Stefon's legal drama, and you've got the Cardi versus JT storyline all happening at one time, right? Stefon's name isn't disappearing. If anything, it's literally everywhere. And that's the reality when your personal life intersects with the public eye. Everything you do is magnified. Every story feeds the next, and the narrative can span in multiple directions at once. And from a brand perspective, that's fascinating, y'all, because Cardi's pregnancy announcement didn't erase Stefon's controversies. It actually just layered another narrative on top of that. Now the media, social feeds, and the fans are juggling multiple different threads: the joy of a new baby, the conflict with JT, and the allegations against Stefon. And when you're a celebrity, that's exactly how your brand energy gets measured. Every move, every announcement, and every post is influencing perception, even if it's personal. But it's not just about keeping a public image clean. It's also about awareness of how the world reacts to the story. In the short term, a positive moment like a pregnancy can draw sympathy, attention, and engagement. People want to celebrate it. But on the flip side, the scandals, accusations, and lawsuits keep your name circulating. And in the celebrity game, attention is attention, whether it's good or bad. I say that all the time. All publicity is good publicity. And that's a lesson for anyone here who's building a brand. You can't separate your personal decisions from your professional image. Everything affects your equity, your social capital, your partnerships, and your opportunities. Now, looking at Stefon specifically, he's in a position where the legal and personal drama could impact contracts, endorsements, and long-term earnings if he don't get his stuff together and manage it carefully. And for someone wired to be rich, that's a real world example of how mismanaged narratives can affect the bag. And we don't want our bags to be affected ever. So my little takeaway is, even if personal life events are a part of your brand, you are in the spotlight and controlling the story, or at least understanding its impact, is all a part of the game, people. So this whole Cardi Stefon situation isn't just celebrity gossip. It's a masterclass in narrative, perception, and the intersection of personal life and brand strategy. And that's exactly the kind of stuff we're going to be breaking down here. How life, culture, and business collide, and how you can take those lessons and apply them to building your own presence, influence, and wealth. And speaking of the situation between Cardi and Stefon, like I said, it ties into me. Not to compare myself or my situation to theirs, but it really is similar in a way, and I'm going to tell you how. As somebody like me, who's emerging and growing more and more into the public eye, I have to be very mindful of the things that I put out into the internet, the things that I say, and even the things that I don't say, because people are watching. The analytics don't lie. I've literally had situations where someone went out of their way to find pictures of me through random social media platforms and then send them to the guy I'm seeing. Not from their own number either, but from some random number, y'all. It's very weird and it's unsettling, and it's not something that happens by accident. That is somebody who was making a conscious effort to go digging into my life, trying to generate a negative outcome or a negative perception of me. And it's not just that. I've had people create fake profiles on Instagram and TikTok just to watch me. Imagine putting that much energy into somebody you don't even know personally. That alone tells me something. Clearly, my life is interesting. Clearly, I'm interesting to some capacity, no matter how you want to flip that coin, because regardless of who that person was, the only fact that matters is they went out of their way to try to gather information on me and affect a part of my life. The wildest part is that it wasn't even someone who knows me, most likely. I don't know. Could be. It very well could be. But I don't know. But I say that because the people who do know me, they already know me. They know all the things that I do. They know who I'm dating. They know all about that person because I am an open book to my inner circle, right? This had to be someone that was on the outside looking in, desperate to piece together a story, right? My mutuals online wouldn't have to create fake profiles if they're already have full access to all my stuff because they're in my life, right? So I don't know. But this is exactly why I don't post a man's face all over social media until years into the relationship. Not months, not when we're just vibing, but years, y'all, because I may be an open book, but some things need to remain sacred. Everybody has something they want to hold for themselves, and for me, that's one of mine. What I choose to protect is based on my own preference, not what other people think I should do, not what social media expects. And people constantly question me on that too. I've heard people they'll say things like, why don't you post him? Or it's giving escort vibes. And I'm like, how do we go from me protecting my relationship to people accusing me of escort vibes? All because I choose not to post a man's face that they're not even dating. That's exactly why I keep things private, because the minute you go public, people start speculating. They start creating narratives. They start projecting. And I've already seen firsthand what happens when outside noise interferes, because back in July, when all this drama started to unfold, here we are months later at the end of September going into October, and me and the man I'm seeing, we still haven't fully recovered from it, y'all. We're doing well, but we still haven't fully recovered from it. And both of us are trying. We really are. I'm really trying. I'm not going to lie to y'all though. Things are still being repaired to this day. And it's really hard to gain my trust back once it's been broken, because I was in a very happy bubble. I was in a very safe space. And regardless of who understands that or who doesn't, my trust was broken in many different ways. And that's my truth that I have to sit with and be okay with. And when things like that happen, it makes you feel not safe. It makes you question your partner. It makes you question your friends. Your friends, y'all. Because you don't really have the answers you need, but you feel violated. I felt violated. And so it's still being repaired. Man, I'm trying every day to not think about those things, but they do stay with you. They really do, especially when you go from la la land to like, whoa, what's going on? And it made me really realize what celebrities actually go through. Like, I genuinely feel like God gave me those situations as a way of preparing me to be able to handle public scrutiny or public opinion without letting it damage my close personal relationships, because this is all very new to me. I've never experienced anything like this before. This year, I've gotten more recognition than I ever have. And while that's exciting, all of the negativity and weirdness that comes with it is a lot. It's a lot for anybody. And that's exactly why I've been choosing to move differently, because visibility comes with speculation. The more you show, the more people feel entitled to comment, to investigate, to stir things up. And that's the tax of going public. And I'm learning enough in my own life to know that not everything deserves an audience. Some things are better off protected, even if the rest of my life is an open book, because it is an open book. If you follow me on my socials, you know that, right? If you have access to my socials, then you know that. And here's what I see coming down the pipeline and why it matters if you're wired to be rich with this rebranding that we're doing, right? First, more celebrities are crossing into industries outside their lanes. Athletes are dropping music now. Musicians are launching fashion lines. Actors are investing in tech startups. Look at Travis Scott with his sneakers and fashion collaborations, or Bad Bunny stepping into global brand partnerships and headlining the Super Bowl 2026 in the Bay. This isn't just fun projects. This is influence turned into multiple streams of income. And the lesson is that your skill set or primary lane is never the ceiling. The ceiling is wherever you choose to expand. Secondly, markets are shifting toward exclusivity drops. It's not just about owning a product. It's about owning an experience. Limited edition sneakers, exclusive restaurant pop-ups, private concerts, or even content that's only accessible through a membership. Consumers aren't just buying, they're buying into a vibe, a status, a moment. Attention and access are the new currency, and if you understand that, you can turn scarcity and hype into serious returns. Third, there's a cultural shift where being offline will start becoming the real flex. The attention economy is reaching a tipping point, y'all. We see it all the time. People are starting to recognize that constant posting and showing off isn't always a signal of success. Sometimes it's just noise. Look at celebrities that go crazy online when they drop an album, but then the rest of the year they're quiet. Sometimes when people mass post, it's just noise. Those who step back, focus, and control their visibility strategically will have more influence, more leverage, and more impact. And the common thread across all of this is control. Whether it's controlling your narrative, your money, or your lifestyle, the ones who win are the ones setting the agenda before anybody else can. We can't just be out here reacting to trends, y'all. We have to anticipate them, create them, and shape perception. And for me, this is exactly why I've been leaning into more content creation. I'm looking at more studio time and deeper visibility. It's about taking control of the brand, the message, and the lifestyle that I want to build. Everything else, like the audience, the opportunities, the collaborations, it will flow from that. At the end of the day, being wired to be rich isn't just about cash. It's about reading the signals, understanding the shifts, and being 2 steps ahead in culture, business, and life. And if you can do that, you're not just participating in the game, you're defining it. That's it for today's episode. Thanks for spending this time with me and being a part of the conversation. If you're enjoying Wired to be Rich, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who's also wired to be rich. I'd also love it if you like, comment, and let me know your thoughts. Your engagement helps shape the show and keeps us connected. If there are topics that you want to hear me talk about, feel free to shoot them to me. If they align with me, I'm happy to go there. But if not, I appreciate your honesty and I would love to hear from you all. I really, really would, okay? Even if it's just a thumbs up. This space is all about noticing opportunities, thinking critically, and making moves while still living life. It's about strategy, awareness, and showing up fully, whether it's in your career, your finances, or your daily choices. Being wired to be rich isn't about luck or shortcuts. It's about clarity, intentional action, and staying true to yourself while you build. I want you to take what you heard today, apply it in a way that makes sense for you, and keep moving forward. So, stay curious, y'all. Stay sharp and keep putting yourself in positions where you can see, grab, and create opportunities. Until next time, stay aware, stay intentional, and most importantly, stay wired to be rich. I'll see y'all next week. Bye.